Welcome to Pop Flashback. I'm your host, Rick Smalls.
And I'm Tina Boucher.
And we are going back in time today to 1977.
The year Star Wars hit theaters.
That's right, it wasn't just a movie.
It was a full-blown phenomenon.
Huge cultural moment.
Yeah, it really was.
What do you think it was about this film that made it explode like that?
Well, you got to remember what the world was like back then.
Okay.
I mean, Vietnam War had just ended.
Right.
People were, I think, feeling kind of disillusioned.
Yeah.
And along comes this hopeful, space adventure.
Right.
Good versus evil, huge battles.
And such memorable characters.
Exactly. It was pure escapism, and audiences just ate it up.
And they still do.
Yeah.
Those themes really resonate today just as much as they did back then.
Oh, absolutely.
And I mean, command, Darth Vader.
Iconic.
Even people who've never seen the movie know Darth Vader.
You're right. It's like Star Wars just seeped into everything,
Yeah.
It's everywhere. Like even...
May the Force be with you?
Exactly. That's practically like everyday language now.
It really is.
And the impact on films, how stories get told, it's huge.
Speaking of huge, you know what else was huge?
What?
The box office, the money this thing made.
Oh, yeah. It was a game changer, especially for 20th Century Fox.
They were struggling, weren't they, before Star Wars?
Yeah, they were.
And then, boom.
Astronomical success.
Their stock just went.
Through the roof. It went from like $6 a share to $25.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did they do with all that cash?
Well, they spent it.
Of course they did.
But they went beyond Hollywood. Yeah, like aspen skiing, pebble, beach golf.
So a space opera funded luxury vacations.
It's kind of wild, right?
And then there's the special effects.
Oh, yeah.
Star Wars just flipped the script on how we see things on screen.
Completely. Before that, spaceships in movies were, well...
Kind of cheesy.
Yeah, they were...
It's a whole other level.
Star Wars used all these new techniques.
Like...
Well, like motion control cameras to film the models,
to make them look real.
Exactly. Move realistically, and the angles were so much better.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And they started, like, the biggest effects companies, right?
Yeah.
Because of Star Wars.
Yeah. George Lucas couldn't find anyone to do what he wanted, so he started Industrial Light and Magic.
ILM.
Yeah. And then they, set the standard for everyone.
Pioneered all that CGI stuff we see everywhere now.
Yeah, it's amazing to think about.
It really is. And it all goes back to Star Wars.
Truly groundbreaking.
All right, let's take a quick break.
Okay.
We'll be right back with more on the impact of Star Wars. Hangry.
Hangry. Totally. And we're looking at their online shop today, and it's pretty wild. Got like everything you could think of, from t-shirts and sweatshirts to candles and stickers, and they've got all this stuff with this really fun food themed kind of spin on it.
Yeah.
It's interesting how they've taken what's a pretty negative emotion and spun it to be something.
To be something good.
Yeah, like something relatable and fun.
All right, we're back. Still geeking out over Star Wars over here.
As we should be.
It always strikes me how this movie, with its knights and princesses and all these battles, feels very classic,
It is. It actually really popularized this thing called the hero's journey.
Okay.
Which, this mythologist, Joseph Campbell, wrote about.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that, but refresh my memory. What's the hero's journey all about, and how's it in Star Wars?
Okay, so basically it's this pattern that shows up in stories, all over the world throughout history.
Mm-hmm.
You've got your hero in their ordinary world, then something happens.
Okay.
They get this call to adventure.
Right. A challenge.
Yeah, but they might be hesitant at first.
Makes sense.
But then they cross over into this, special world.
Oh.
They face challenges, meet mentors, all that.
Like training montage stuff.
Exactly. Trials and tribulations. Then they confront their big fear, achieve victory.
Comeback changed.
Totally transformed. And in Star Wars, it's like Luke on Tatooine.
Right.
Then the message from Leia, meeting Obi-Wan, facing Vader, it's all there.
It totally fits. And that's why it works so well, right? People connect with that.
Yeah. It's familiar, but in this amazing sci-fi fantasy way that Lucas created.
So it's no surprise that this movie influenced tons of other filmmakers.
Oh, huge influence. You see the hero's journey everywhere, even outside of sci-fi.
He's like he wrote the rule book.
Yeah.
Okay, but Star Wars didn't just change how stories are told.
Right.
It changed how Hollywood thinks about summer movies.
Oh, absolutely. Before Star Wars and Jaws, a couple years before,
right,
summers weren't prime time for movies.
And then those two came along.
And people were like, we want big, exciting movies in the summer.
Makes sense. It's hot. You're off school. Perfect escape.
Yeah, and that's how the summer blockbuster was born.
So thanks Star Wars for those crazy lines at the theater.
Maybe not all the blame goes there, but
it definitely kicked things into high gear.
For sure. Plus, Star Wars showed what a franchise could be.
Sequels, prequels, all that.
And don't forget the merchandising.
Oh, yeah. I had all the toys, the lunchbox, everything.
It was huge, too. Before Star Wars, merchandising wasn't really a thing.
Really?
But Lucas had this vision, and it made a fortune.
Smart guy.
And that set the model for how movies make money today, beyond just tickets.
Wow. This one film had such massive effects on, like, every part of Hollywood.
Absolutely.
But did all that good come with, any downsides?
That's an interesting question.
Like, were there any unintended consequences to the Star Wars revolution?
Well, it definitely put this huge emphasis on big-budget blockbusters. And studios, they started playing it safer, focusing on those big releases.
Makes sense. Got to get that return on investment.
Right. So some people argue that hurt smaller, more character-driven films.
Oh, interesting. Like, the indies got squeezed out.
Yeah, some say the blockbuster formula, while successful, can be,
A little repetitive?
Yeah, maybe lacking originality.
But others would say, even with blockbusters, there's been some incredible stuff.
True. Some really groundbreaking films, too.
It's a tough question.
Yeah, it's complicated, for sure, but the impact of Star Wars is undeniable.
Absolutely. Changed Hollywood forever.
For sure.
It's amazing how Star Wars is still such a big deal.
Yeah.
All these years later.
I know, right? And it's not just, like, nostalgia either.
No.
It's because it hit on these big universal themes,
Yeah.
Hope, courage, good versus evil.
Right.
Those never get old.
They really don't.
And Star Wars just made them exciting, visual,
Totally. And gave us characters we love, worlds to explore.
Right. A story that grabs you.
It really sparked a ton of creativity, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Not just in Hollywood, but, like, everywhere.
Everywhere. Books, comics, games, you name it.
Toys. All the toys.
Right. And the fans are still so passionate, even today.
It's crazy to think about this one movie, like, started all that.
It's true.
It really is.
It's like throwing a pebble in a pond. The ripples just keep going.
And those ripples are still going out, even now. Star Wars is still influencing people, filmmakers, writers, artists.
It's become part of, like, our cultural DNA.
Wow, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up our look at Star Wars,
Okay.
I gotta ask, what do you think is its biggest legacy? What can we learn from it, even today?
That's a good question.
Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear them.
Definitely. Let us know what you think.
Thanks for joining us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away.
May the Force be with you.
Always. And remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss our next adventure.
See you next time.
Catch you later.